Hey guys, Jarrod Hudson, agronomist for Golden Harvest in West Central Illinois today, looking at some soybean fields where we're starting to see some sudden death syndrome, or SDS, show up in the field. Now when we think about this disease, we're seeing symptoms now, but the infection actually takes place early in the season, back in the spring. And SDS is favored by cool, wet conditions. And when you think about the spring that we had plenty of rainfall in a lot of areas to have those wet conditions. And the locations in the fields that we're going to see this show up first is anywhere that reduces root growth. So that could be compacted areas of the field, that could just be low-lying wet areas, even areas with high soybean cyst pressure can be areas where we're going to see this pop up first. So as you're driving around the countryside, if you see those areas showing a yellowish tint and just not looking quite right, I'd encourage you to get out in those areas and dive in and see what is going on. Because what you're going to see if it is sudden death is leaves that start to have some yellowing or necrosis show up, and then as that advances, that's going to turn into more of a necrosis look to it, where you get the browning in the interveinal part of the leaf there. And this is going to be worse at the top of the plant and then progressively move down. So like I said, that infection takes place early in the season, and then we don't see anything until about R3 time frame. And the reason we start to see it then is if we get a rain event around late R2, R3, as the plant is taking up that moisture and the nutrients, it's going to flush up that fungus that was infected early in the season and push it into the upper part of the plant, because that's where a lot of your nutrients are getting pushed to right now, because that's where your new growth is. So you're going to see it worse in the upper part of the plant first, and then as you look down towards the bottom of the plant, it's going to start to progress downward in the plant as well. Now when we think about sudden death syndrome and what we said the leaves look like, there are two other diseases that are going to give us the exact same leaf symptomology, and that is brown stem rot and red crown rot. Now it can be fairly easy to tell those apart once other symptoms develop. Brown stem rot, fairly easy to tell from its name. If you split that stem open, the inside of that stem and the center part in that pith tissue, it's typically white, but it will turn brown. And that's how we know it's brown stem rot, because with sudden death syndrome, that tissue will stay white regardless of advancement of the disease. Now red crown rot, you distinguish it from the other two diseases by looking at the outside of the stem right at the soil surface. And with red crown rot, you're going to get red fungus forming on that stem. Little round dots of that red rusty color fungus will show up, and that's how we know it is red crown rot. Hopefully we don't see this disease take off too much, but we are starting to see it in some areas that we had heavy rainfall in the spring, areas that had a little bit earlier planting for the year. This field in particular was planted the middle of April. So I would really focus on any of your April planted soybean fields right now would be probably the first ones to show SDS. And so hopefully looking through the video, getting out into your fields, comparing notes with what we've talked about will help you determine if you're seeing sudden death syndrome or maybe some other disease or issue going on in the field. I hope this helps. Have a great day.